This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
Right, so first of all, happy Christmas to everybody, and for those of you who don't celebrate Christmas, then happy holidays to you. Now, Anthony Joshua, within the article that I'm going to read a statement out in a second, where Anthony Joshua talks about vacating one of the two belts, WBO or IBF. And within this very same article, he does talk about the potential sparring between himself and Tyson Fury to help Tyson Fury prepare for the Deontay Wilder rematch on February 22nd, where Joshua says that, first of all, he wants to help Tyson Fury bring the WBC belt back to the UK, and also he would use it as like a yardstick. So if he was to beat up Tyson Fury in the sparring, or if Tyson Fury was to beat him up, then he would take certain elements of that spar and adjust it ready for the real night. Okay, so there's that one. Now, as far as the WBO and IBF, so just a quick overview of what the situation is. With Anthony Joshua being a unified heavyweight champion of the world, all sanctioning bodies have mandatory. So currently Joshua is WBA, IBF and WBO. So all three of those, they're not really looking to work together as such. They will in certain circumstances, of course, but ultimately the situation that they have right now is that the WBO want their mandatory next, which is Oleksandr Usyk. The IBF want their mandatory next, which is Kubrat Pulev. Now, unless something could be worked out where one of them is going to agree to take a back seat, then he's going to have to lose one of the belts. He's going to get stripped of one of the belts. And this is the price you pay when you're a unified champion, which is why it was very, very important for the Wilder fight some time ago, because there's a very, very small window to make undisputed. People say, well, undisputed can happen anytime because it takes precedence over all others. It doesn't quite work that way. It should work that way, but it doesn't. It's the unwritten rule, if you like, where they say, yes, unifications do take precedence, but ultimately it's down to the sanctioning body. If any of the sanctioning bodies say no, then it's no, all right? Much like the WBO and the IBF, these guys do not look at each other as the other one is a priority. They see themselves as the priority. And especially when it comes to the IBF have stripped plenty of fighters before. Don't forget, they stripped Tyson Fury once before. They stripped Saul Canelo Alvarez once before. They stripped Gennady Golovkin, and they have no problem stripping Anthony Joshua. Say what you like about the IBF. Is it harsh? Maybe, but ultimately these are the rules, and if you want to be IBF champion, then you need to abide by them. So for me, the IBF is the one that's more likely to get stripped if the mandatory isn't fulfilled within a certain period. Now, as far as which one is he going to choose, well, we'll get into that one in a second. But first of all, we'll get into Anthony Joshua's statement about potentially vacating either the WBO or the IBF. So here's Joshua's statement. I would hate to vacate because it's so hard to go around and collect all these belts. It's really difficult, and I've kept hold of them for so many years. So I have to vacate because of boxing politics would be annoying. But there's things out of my control. If I do lose one, I know I'll be able to get it back. Time moves so fast, it's easy to forget things. So we just look forward to the new year and more challenges, more competition, and hopefully more memories in the years to come. It's 2020 vision. Whoever's on the cards will get taken down. I'll just keep myself focused, and whoever wants it can get it. Anthony Joshua's statement. So first of all, I like the pun, 2020 vision, because we're coming into the year 2020. So well done, Joshua, for that one. Now, there's certain things where I can agree to a point, and I have to disagree with Joshua on one point as well. And the bit that I really disagree with, where he says that whichever belt that he has to vacate, he's fully confident that he'll get that belt back. Now, I have to disagree with that point with regards to the IBF, because Kubrat Pulev, he'll probably end up having to fight, say, Adam Kaunaki. So that's a top-ranked fighter for Bob Arum versus Kaunaki, a PBC fighter, Al Heyman. So whichever one of those two wins that vacant belt, they're not going to unify against Joshua. They're going to keep it, because there's no rules that a champion is forced to unify. Okay, so for me, if he vacates the IBF, that's a bad move. He ain't seeing that title again for quite some time. He really isn't. But if he was to vacate the WBO, so Oleksandr Usyk versus looks like it could well be Joseph Parker for the vacant WBO, then he's more likely to get that fight. Because for me, I think that Usyk and Parker are quite willing to fight Joshua. Parker's already proven that once before. Usyk, he's proven it time and time again as well, because he was undisputed cruiserweight champion. And he ain't afraid of Joshua. For me, Kubrat Pulev, he wants no smoke with Joshua, okay? He wants that belt vacated. He doesn't want to fight Joshua. Now, that's probably the most logical one to do. Vacate the WBO, because at least then, okay, you're without that belt for a little while, but you're going to get the opportunity sooner rather than later. I hope that makes sense. So, for me, I think that if he does have to vacate one, which does look like he's going to have to, then vacate the WBO. Again, let's remember, Usyk and Parker, if that is indeed going to be the fight, then both of these guys are part of the Matchroom stable. So it's much easier to make. Much easier to make. Now, I know a lot of people will be critical, especially the Joshua haters, the Matchroom haters, the Sky Sports haters will say, but he should be fighting Usyk, blah, blah, blah. Again, think about it logically. If he vacates the IBF, he ain't getting it back. You will never see Undisputed, ever. So, logically, he should be vacating the WBO. Anyway, listen, that's my thoughts on Overcall. You guys, you'll drop me your thoughts below about it yourself. But as he says there, it's difficult because he has been the one belt collecting. You see, Wilder says how he's the best and blah, blah, blah. He's never once unified. He's never once unified. Joshua, in his 16th fight, defeated Charles Martin to become RBF world champion. Then he unified for the vacant WBA title against Vladimir Klitschko. Then he unified again against Parker. Wilder could have took on any three of those, but he didn't. Joshua did. Nobody else did. Joshua did. So he has earned the right to not have to vacate, in my opinion. But these are the rules. These are boxing politics. When you're a unified champion, you do get stacked up with mandatories. You really do. Look at Vladimir Klitschko's run. He kept having to fight people that people didn't really want to see him fight because they were mandatories. He got forced. It was mandatory after mandatory after mandatory. So ultimately, it's a case of Joshua may have to vacate because obviously he can't fight Pulev and Usyk on the same night or within a couple of weeks of each other. He can't do it. So either way, hopefully they work something out so he doesn't have to vacate, but it don't look good for him right now, does it? Drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.